The God of the Bible is the God of toxic masculinity. In recent times, it's become popular for certain folks defending men to complain about the phrase toxic masculinity. And this is great. Let's defend men. Hooray, men. But if you don't think there is such a thing as toxic masculinity, well, look no further than the God of the Bible. Toxic masculinity, what is this? It's pretty much every bad guy in every single film since forever. Toxic masculinity is bullying, being an authoritarian tyrant, right? Domineering, coercive, controlling, threatening, abusive, vengeful, punishing, inflexible, egotistical. What vocations, what archetypes of toxic masculinity do we have? Well, what the slave owner? Oh, George Washington and Tommy Jefferson. The epitome. You couldn't get any more toxically masculine than a genocider. Bibi Netanyahu. Yeah, toxic masculinity has been pretty much what every human rights movement has been about, is stopping, preventing the tyrannical, brutal, toxic masculinity. I don't think it'd be hard to argue that kidnappers, rapists, violent gangsters, serial killers, corrupt officials, asshole cops, typical abusive boyfriends, and yes, the God of the Bible. He's all these things. Just read it. And before you say, oh, that's the Old Testament, the New Testament, that God is sunshines and rainbows. Well, in the Old Testament, the God was obey me or die. Obey me or I shall send armies to come and kill your men and rape your women, and you will know that I am the Lord. The Old Testament, it was obey me or die. But the New Testament, it's obey me or burn in flames for eternity. That God is worse. That God is worse. So we live in a society where not only do we have statues of slave owners, but we have a book, this Holy Bible, where still today in some courts you have to put on it and swear to this monster demon god of toxic masculinity that you will tell the truth or nothing but the truth, so help you God. And you say there's not a problem of toxic masculinity in our culture when we still go into churches and worship this beast of toxic masculinity, this demonic thug, demon of death, Jehovah, Yahweh, Beelzebub, whatever the fuck you want to call him. This guy is an asshole. And, so is every motherfucker complaining about that word toxic masculinity, because you don't see that this is an issue, right? We've got gangster rap. We've got slave owners on our dollar bills. And we've got a God in the churches on Sundays that is a genocidal beast. There's no wonder that his followers in America are arming and funding a genocide in the name of this genocidal, toxically masculine God.